Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at day 5 of the 100 Days of Zentangle 2020. Today we are going to be doing Mel Mel. It is by my wonderful mentor, Adele Bruno, who teaches me how to keep a good attitude. And we are going to get started. This is a viewer request. And so if you guys want me to focus on a particular tangle one of these days, just drop it in comments and we will do our best to accommodate you. So we did not have any comments or questions that needed answering from yesterday's tireless comments. I do appreciate all of your thoughts and positive words. All right, Mel Mel. Mel Mel is going to be another perfect springtime tangle. So I want to encourage everybody today for Mel Mel to grab up something that you can practice on. This is a deceptively simple tangle that requires absolutely practice. So Mel Mel is another springtime, a really springtime sort of flowery tangle. And it is made entirely of loops. Now, it's truly, in its truest form, a continuous line tangle. However, continuous line tangle meaning that you never lift your pin until you are finished. However, with Mel Mel, in order to get it to sort of look right, you sort of need to do some thinking. So it starts with an inverted open C shape. And then you make a loop. Then the next one, you loop the same size. Okay? Then I suggest turning your tile or whatever you're working on. And you want them to kiss each time they come around. Now, the problem with this tangle is if you don't turn your tile, then you end up with something sort of misshapen. Oops, that didn't really kiss, but this is the concept of Mel Mel. Now, in order to stop this kind of thing from happening, and if you'll notice, we don't have a very good center here. So I went to Adele Bruno's website. It is called Tickled to Tangle. Whoops, Simba is rocking the bed. All right. It is called Tickled to Tangle at blogspot.com. And it is a wonderful site. It looked like she has not been there since September last year. And so, of course, like me, we're all worried about her and wondering what's going on. However, the step out to Mel Mel is there at tickledtotangle.blogspot.com. So on Adele's website, she has some tips for tangling Mel Mel. And one of the things that she... Now, of course, if you're left-handed, you can draw this the other way, naturally. So Adele suggests that you imagine there's a little orb here in the middle, like this. And then to make your loops around that. And so that would probably be a closer representation. Now, I used this tangle for, I wonder if I can do this the other way around. Let's find out. Well, not very well. I definitely have my handedness, don't I? So I did this tangle probably 2 years ago for one of Adele's It's a String Thing challenges. And I think, I think what I ended up doing to make this easier on myself was to actually draw in the orb in the middle. So about this step, I think I just inked in a little circle. Oops, sorry. I inked in a little circle and then took my time going around that like so. Now, you may do as you wish, of course. On her site, she has some examples where she has blacked in these little triangle shapes, in which case drawing your orb ahead of time might be, I don't know. But that seemed to work really well for me. However, I mean, I can do it the other way around, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this example. Let's do another one. But definitely turning your tile can make a difference. And quite honestly, there is absolutely nothing wrong with a continuous line version of this. I think there are opportunities to do this several ways. And it is possible to do it continuously. I just think you get a more consistent result if you turn your tile midway through. Maybe not. Anyway, you guys know what I mean here. Let's do one more with a close-up, okay? Inverted C shape and a loop. And a second one. Try to make them kiss. I think Simba has gotten on top of Mari, and they're both on the couch.
No, I may have jumped on the couch and flipped myself over.
Okay, so I kind of like this one. That's kind of cool with just little 4 loops. Let's see, let's do another one. Inverted C and a loop. And then continue to make loops. Have them kiss as they go. And remember, turning the tile makes a difference because it changes the angle of the loop that you are doing next. Okay? Yeah. You can do these short with 2, or you could continue this and have 5. I think on Adele's site, she usually stops with 5, but you can really do this however you want. In fact, you could do this with 3, and that would be really cute addition as well. So let's get our tile out and see what we're going to do with this today. And take your time. This took me some time to do the first time, to figure out the first time. And I admit to you today, even though I had done it before, it took me about 30 minutes of sitting down with a blank sheet of paper and just practicing. And imagining that little orb there does help some, because I tend to get too close in otherwise. But this is, and once again, let me show you the way that I did it last year, or 2 years ago, that made me feel the most comfortable. Whoops. Sorry, I'm drawing in the camera lens again. Basically, I'm looking at the picture on the camera while I'm drawing, and it gets me confused. Not that that's anything new, guys. All right, so I'm going to start here. Maybe draw my little orb shape. And then finish it. And then you can fill in or do as you wish. But this is a very whimsical little tangle, and once you practice it enough, you should get comfortable enough with it that you can just do this all over the place willy-nilly. Okay? So now, let's get our tile for today out. If I already filled it out, where is it? Oh, here it is. So let's take our tile for today, or whatever surface you are drawing on, and remember, you do not have to have Zentangle tiles or anything special or even hot press watercolor paper. If all you have is copy paper, then go with copy paper. Just use a piece of paper and a pen. If you want to cut your paper down to about tile size, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. This is 3.5 by 3.5 inches, or like, is that 9 by 9 centimeters? Just a small square surface, and use what you have. The important thing here is to draw, not to have something perfect when you're done. Okay? All right, here we go with Mel Mel. Okay, so now that we have figured Mel Mel out to a certain extent, we are going to start drawing. Now, when I thought about doing Mel Mel, I thought, well, what could we do with Mel Mel to make it interesting? What could we do other than, draw them all over our tile, which of course we can certainly do. So I thought I would do something a little bit different for me. And I think I'm going to make a big Mel Mel on my tile, and I think I'm going to sort of orient it on the diagonal. So what I'm going to do is start down here at the bottom, and I don't want to make my stalk too large. Because I want big loops. So when that gets too uncomfortable for my hand, I'm going to shift my tile or my drawing surface. And here we go. Here's another one. I'm going to keep in mind I want them to kiss right there. And I'm going to turn my tile before I make this last part, because I want to make sure I come out in the right place here. So I'm going to come up here, shift my tile, think, okay, orient that loop there. Then I'm going to stop here and shift my tile again, thinking about the orb shape here. So I'm going to go up like this, and then shift my tile, and I think I'll do one more here. And then close it in. All right, pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now I think, since this is large and I have the room, I think what I'm going to do is aura this line all the way around on the inside and see what happens, because I can, and that'll be fun. So I'm going to start right here so that I can get a comfortable movement with my hand. Take your time when you aura. At least for me, a little time is necessary. And I'm just going to join them up at the end, sort of like this. So now here I am, and I'm going to continue this aura all the way around. And when I come to another line, I think I'm just going to jump under there. And I think I'll probably black these, but I think I'm just going to go ahead like this. And I'm going to continue that. Welcome Simba back to the party. And this is a good example of why you should keep turning your tiles, because you get into a spot where your hand position is a little awkward and your strokes are no longer consistent with what you want. All right, last one. Now I'm going to go the outside of this and just tuck that in right there. So now I have something fun to start with, and I haven't quite decided how I'm going to handle all of this yet, but this is going to be our framework. I think I will join these up. And I may black these ribbons here and see what that does for us. I really like this. This is very elegant and pretty looking. And so I think now I'm going to, before I start working on this middle thing, I think I'm going to work in, how do I want to do that? Another one. And I'm going to want that to go, I think, in the opposite direction. So I think I'm going to draw this. Whoops. I'm once again drawing through the camera lens. Not a good plan. And I don't have my glasses on. All right. Well, that was sloppy, but it's all right. We're going to make it work. Now, if you are a beginning tangler, I want to encourage you to not try this part. This is more of a drawing behind thing, and while you are certainly welcome to try it, it can be a little bit confusing. And I'm just going to pretend like that's running off the paper. Those two aren't kissing. They're getting serious. Here we go. So there's another one on the edge here, and I'm trying to decide whether I want to double this too. And I think I'm going to leave this single for now. And I think I want to do one more, and I'm going to point it this way, and it's going to be a bit smaller with a longer stalk. So I'm going to do that way. And turn my tile. And turn it again. I think I'll just make that a 4 one. Just like right like that. Okay, so this looks a bit of a mess. So here's what I'm going to do to make this a little cleaner. I'm going to black in my double line on this first one first. Okay, so I'm going to take my micron pen, like that, and I'm going to fill in I have already seen some great stuff on Instagram. I really encourage you to go and do a search on hashtag the tireless tangler or hashtag 100 days of Zentangle 2020 or 100 days of Zentangle. I'm not sure. You may get some other stuff that isn't us. But if you hashtag the tireless tangler, you should be able to see not only mine, but everyone else who has tagged me, their art. And there were some really great examples and ideas that other people had from these lessons that I really appreciated. I had some really interesting cadent tiles on there, or art on there, that I really enjoyed looking at, that actually gave me some ideas for different things to do. And speaking of cadent, the Tangle cadent we did a couple of days ago, Zentangle just came out with a new video today on crazy cadent. It's a kitchen table tangle, and with Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas, who are the co-founders of the Zentangle method. And they are exploring cadence much the way we did the other day. I really highly recommend that if you have never seen Rick and Maria tangle, that you go and catch that video. I tell you, when I started watching them, it was a whole new experience for me in tangling. And so they have a perspective that really, truly no one else has. And so I encourage you, if you get a chance, it's not a huge long video, unlike mine. So go and watch that if you can. And I think it's called Crazy Cadent. And so it's going to take cadent and really explore cadent in a way even probably crazier than what I did. And probably I have not watched it yet. I just saw it pop up. They will probably do the random dots method and just make cadent work for them, whatever. But I would imagine that Maria has some ideas on things to do with cadent that no one else has thought of. So that is always a beautiful experience to tangle with Maria and Rick. You always get a fresh perspective on what they feel is important in the Zentangle method. And I think that is such an important thing, because as I always say, for me at least, the tangling is not about patterns, which many people feel that it is all about the patterns. It's not. It is about the zen you get from drawing the patterns, from creating the art. The patterns are meant to be repetitive and simple because the very simplicity allows your mind to relax and become meditational. And that is why it's called Zen Tangle. The drawing is the tangling, and the Zen is what you get from the relaxation, which is why, like we talked about yesterday or the day before, the important thing is not how many patterns you know. It is what can you do with the patterns that you do know. It's the simplicity of the strokes and the ability to zone out and really let your mind drift while you're doing them. And that is the beauty of this. The healing ability that you get. I cannot explain to you how much my life changed when I was introduced to this. And it seems like a silly thing, and I used to feel like it was stupid when I explained it to people, because my life literally changed. It literally saved me from a struggle with depression that I could not beat, and it had been lifelong. And just some shifts in my thinking and the ability to have a creative outlet without any expectations, and without feeling like I needed to be anything different than where I was then and who I was then. And that is the beauty of this. It's just such a perspective changer. And I'm telling you, it's epiphanal, at least it was for me, to go from this person that was trapped in a bed and could never, rarely get out and had no way to connect with people, to someone whose life is rich and full and has meaning, and I have become a person that I never thought I would be again, once I was disabled. And so I really want to encourage you guys to focus not on the patterns, although the patterns are a lot of fun, but focus on the act of creation, the act of drawing. Focus on each stroke. Focus on your breathing. Don't focus on what you expect your tile to look like when you're finished. Focus on each stroke of the pen, which is why coming to terms with blacking, as we are doing now, is so important. It isn't about, there's meditation in blacking, and that is something that I did not get for years, until probably last year, after I returned from CZT training to become a Certified Zentangle Teacher, that I've truly believed that blacking was part of the process, even though it's very difficult for some people. It is something that, and Maria Thomas told me at a seminar, that she always uses her 01 to black because the blacking is part of the Zen for her. And so that for me made me change my perspective and look at the blacking differently. And so I'm able to now, and I never thought that would be possible because I'm such an impatient person, or I can be. But after last year and the 100-day project and dealing with a lot of blacking in that, and doing some other things that also involved blacking, you've got to slow down with the blacking, slow down and teach yourself to enjoy the process. Don't be so hung up on getting finished fast. It isn't about the speed with which you move. Now, I have sped those sections up for you guys in these videos simply because they are ridiculously long already at 1 hour. And I really struggled with that idea once I had finished the first two and realized that they weren't going to get any shorter. But the length of the videos was less important to me than having the time with you guys every day. So I have sped them up some now because, particularly when we deal with color, that is time consuming, and like yesterday's video. And I just, it was an hour, I think it was an hour and 25 minutes total video time when I got done yesterday. And I managed to get that down to like 49. Woohoo! So that was awesome. And yeah, they're just going to take as long as they take, guys. And if you don't can't stand to be there for that long, then speed me up. You can watch them at double speed and change that in the video setting, and you're going to be good to go. So make it do what you need it to do. Make it turn it into whatever you need it to be. All right. So here's what I've got once I've blacked that. Now, clearly that has popped this up to the front and left the ones that I drew behind. And I only did that on this one leaf because I didn't want everybody to go nuts on this. So, all right. So here's what I've got now. What are we going to do with it? That's the question. Let's change back to my 01. And I think the first thing I want to do is, of course, round some of my edges, or my corners. Well, that didn't work out very well, did it? All right, so I'm just going to make this circular in here. Save myself some time. Now this would be a great tangle for color. Take your time. I don't need that to be perfectly round, but I like that. What to do? Okay, so I think I'm going to skip over and do these others, and on these I'm going to black the triangles and leave the middle open. Now I think this begs for color. So I won't be surprised if I get a bunch of you posting these with color, and that will be great. But again, I want to try to minimize that for me, not because I don't think it's awesome, but because the videos end up being very long, and I don't want you guys to start throwing your phones at the walls or anything. We wouldn't want that. So even if you don't get these Mel Mel shapes perfect, they're still going to be a lot of fun to play with. Oh, sorry about that. Every time I get my pen in front of this camera, it blurs the focus. Okay, so I've got this. Now that's starting to pick up a little bit. Now, I think I'm going to round between these petals here. Sort of like we did yesterday a bit. Give it a little line, weight with the lines. Just make it a little interesting. Oops. There, and line weight and rounding really is one of my go-to things. I think they're really great techniques. All right, so I think we'll do that here again. So the kid thanks the one of you who appreciates his fine manners. I wish I saw more of that. All right, just a couple more spots. All right. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. I never know until I've got this on the paper in front of the camera what's going to happen, guys. It's a little bit daunting, but we usually do okay. Okay, the last thing I think I want to do to these on the sides is aura them all the way around. And then we'll think about what I'm going to do here in the middle. So I'm going to start over here and just start a nice thin aura around the outside. Maria Thomas says, when in doubt, aura, you get to a place in your art that you do not know what to do, put an aura around it. If you don't get any ideas from that, then put another one. And she's absolutely serious about that. The point of the Zentangle method is to take the uncertainty out of the drawing process, to remove the need for decision making. Ooh, that wasn't very pretty. But we don't care, do we? I know I don't. All right, I'm going to have to draw on the camera because I cannot see my tile here. All right. Now, let's see, that finishes it out a bit more. And now I am very tempted. Yeah, I'm going to leave that open for now because I just don't know. And I'm going to start an aura on this one. And again, you may do what you wish with your tile or your drawing. It does not matter. There is no right and wrong here. There is only what you want to do and what you think is going to be awesome. And the reason I didn't finish these lines off is because I'm still trying to decide if I want to connect these in some way. And so sometimes if you're not sure what you want to do, just leave that spot, go on to something else, and then come back later. And a lot of time your answers are going to be made for you by then. Oops. Well, my auras are not very good today, but I don't care. So now what can we do? All right, on these that are enclosed, I'm going to decorate these petal shapes. And I think I'm going to do my little favorite flower petal thing. A little dot up here. Well, well, that really dresses them up pretty, doesn't it? Just a little bit, just a few lines. Oops. Oops. There's that little jerking thing. All right. Ooh, that's prettier. I like that a lot. So we're going to do that over here. If your little flicks, I'm just flicking my pen. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. I'm just flicking my pen over the surface here. I'm trying for one long one in the middle and two on the side. However, if like me, you get yours all off in the wrong spot, it doesn't matter if you just put a couple of extra flicks down there. And then you'll sort of fill it out, and whatever mistakes you perceive that you have made is done. Just want to lightly flick your pen towards you. And if you want, you can add a couple of dots up there. You don't have to. All right, now I am not going to worry about flicking my pen through the black spots because, of course, I can't hurt them. And there's a little dot up there. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so next I want to round this inner surface out here some. So basically do some rounding on the inside of this. So it's not quite so chaotic. Not that that's a bad thing. You can do as you wish. Okay. Remember, take your time when you're blacking. I know it's hard. Believe me, I know. Really try. All right. This is rocking and rolling. Now I think what I want to do is I'm going to emphasize this center line here. Good job. All right, so I have just thickened this line, and not very neatly, but I don't care. And then I'm going to re-emphasize just the outer line, or the inner outer line. That way the aura on the outside is less emphasized. Whereas yesterday I emphasized the aura, today I'm going to do the inner line. Well, frequently for me, enough is enough, and I am better off left alone. But, you know, you just got to do what you got to do. Because my edges are deckled whether I want them to be or not, aren't they? All right, I really like those. I really like the way this turned out. Now, I'm going to do the same thing over here, because quite honestly, I still don't know what I'm going to do with this one in the middle. It's going to be entertaining either way. Okay. Wow, look at that. That was actually neat. We all have our moments, guys. We all have our moments. Okay. Oh, I'm liking this. Not very happy with my auras up here, but I'm liking the rest of it. So, I wonder what would happen. The reason I'm thinking about this is because I'm trying to figure out a way to make this cool without obscuring what I've done over here, so that it has an overlapping effect. And so I'm wondering if I do the exact same thing on the leaves over here, and just perhaps when I get to shading, use my pencil very lightly in these areas, it will look like they're more transparent. So I think I'm going to try that and see what happens, guys. You're going to live it with me. That one wasn't very pretty, was it? I don't know what that dot was about. Don't tell anybody. It'll be our secret. I think this is going to work. I think this is going to work. Here we go. And I'm just going to pretend this other stuff isn't there. And I'm going to go ahead and make my marks over it. Okay. They're thin enough that I think when I shade this, it'll be interesting. And actually, I'm wondering about a really light sheen of color on this top one. I don't know. I don't know. I can't wait to see what you guys do with yours. All right. So I am going to finish these off. I'm going to finish this one off. Oops. I make lots of oopses, but I have learned to go with the flow. I can't help myself on this line, guys. It's just too weird for words. All right. Let's stop worrying about this, and let's call it the ink work done. And I am just going to, I think what I'm going to do in here is make some tiny little dots. Just sort of add some interest here. And I'm going to do that on these. Oh, Simba has joined us again. Say hi to the people, Sim. Simba says, Simba and Mari say, more play, less videos.
So we're ready?
All right, this is very nice. I think perhaps I'll do a couple of smaller, do I want to leave negative space? I think I'm going to leave it. I was going to put maybe one or two over here, but I have a serious problem with negative space. I don't think there should be any. And so I'm trying to learn to get control of that instinct. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to sneak my chop in right down here between. I'm kind of wobbly on the chopping today. And do my sparkle version. Okay. That is it for the ink. I just want to add a couple of touches with shading and we'll be finished for today. Now, something else just occurred to me, and that is that I could take my white jelly roll and do some embellishing on this thick black line here. And that is something that I am seriously considering right now. So we will see. So I'm going to add some graphite. Graphite is the stuff in your pencil. To the base of these. And I'm going to use, on these black ones, I'm going to use quite a thick coat because I'm going to draw that up and over this one that is drawn behind. I want it because I want to give it a shaded look so that this area is looks like it's transparent. Might need more. Might need a higher grade of graphite here. This is my Staedtler Mars F pencil. It's a Mars Lumograph F. It has sort of a mix between, it's harder than a 2B pencil, which is what the Zentangle pencils usually are, or your school pencil, what you consider your normal pencil, but still has plenty of graphite. I tend to be heavy on the graphite, and so this pencil helps me not to get overblown with that. And so I tend to use this. This was a recommendation, of course, from my teacher and mentor, Annie Oken at annieoken.com. All right, let's blend this. If I can find my tortillon. There we go. Usually when I'm looking for my tortillon, it's right in my lap. So I'm going to extend the gray color, the shading, up into the ends of the leaves, or the petals, I mean. Lots of leaf work, petal work. There we go. And then once I have blended this much and given just a bit of color to these inner petals, and I'm going to go back in with my pencil at the base down here and add a bit more for depth and shading. Let's see. Okay. Now, see what a difference that makes. And I think still I want a bit more color over here. I think this one's pretty good, but I think this one could use a bit more up here. There. There, I'm liking that. Okay, now once again, I'm going to go in at the base, do another intense there. Yeah, that is coming along. I like it. Now for these outer ones, I am only going to add graphite at the base and not extend it up to the edge as I did in this last one. I want these to look as though they're lower than the outer petals. So that's why we shade at the base, to give it a little depth. And you just want to blend it out. You don't have any strong lines. And just leave your tips light. Now, you can see why color would be a very tempting thing. So if I see some color out there, I'm going to be thrilled. And now we've got one more center to do. Try not to do this. You will end up with streaks. And I'm putting my streaks out this way because I don't mind if they streak in this fashion, but you don't want a line across this. So try when you're shading, try to keep in mind that it's the same concept with colored pencils, that you don't want any strong lines. And just blend it out. If you don't have a tortillon, you can try a Q-tip, although that is less than satisfactory in a big way. Tortillons are cheap, and you can get them in big packs, so you don't have to buy them all the time. So, I like it. Now, the only other thing I want to do is I'm going to decorate this just a little bit with a couple of orbs here and there and see if that doesn't perk this up just a little bit more. Once again, I'm going to leave a little highlight on there. Hopefully this will still be a mono tangle if I put some of these in here. It's not technically a tangle, they're just embellishments. Yeah, that's what I needed. That's what I needed to make this look finished. Just a few little fun extras here. That one got a little crazy on me. There. All right. Here we go. That is Mel Mel by CZT Adele Bruno of tickletotangle.blogspot.com. All right, guys, this is, once again, day 5 of the 100 Days of Zentangle 2020. Be sure when you post your art on Instagram to tag me, hashtag the tireless tangler, and that jumps right into my feed, or the 100 Days of Zentangle 2020, and I will be looking for those. I have already seen a bunch of you post, so I am thrilled with everybody's work. You guys go to my profile, check that out, or you can search hashtag the tireless tangler or hashtag 100 Days of Zentangle, and you can save those so that they pop up in your feed first, so you can see what everybody else is doing too. And I got some good ideas of stuff from you guys. So here we go. Mel Mel, day 5 is in the books, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 6. Thanks, guys.